Hi everybody, this is Alchemist 2, and I'm back again with another book review. Recently I read Afterlife by one of my favorite psychics in the whole wide world, other than Sylvia Brown, John Edward. Many of you probably recall him from a show that was called Crossing Over, which sadly is no longer aired, but he still does hot readings and cold readings for people. He calls himself the messenger for entities that want to talk to their families. And I like that idea that he's kind of a postman for the other side. I liked that analogy. And within the book itself are a lot of anecdotes about the experiences that he has had doing readings and what it's like being a psychic. And it's really fascinating. And it's not long at all. It only took me a few days to read it. It's about 200 plus. And I think that he's an extremely talented psychic, and like Sylvia, he doesn't ask for any profit to go to him because he feels like he would be cheating people if he did so, because a lot of psychics do that just for the material gain, and it's not about that. It's about connecting families and giving them closure. That's the true essence of having this gift. And he knows this. He's very humble and he's very down to earth. I know that's kind of an odd expression when when describing his personality, but he goes into his past about his father and how he and his father didn't really have that good of a relationship. His father was a drunk, and it's really sad. It's just such a tragic story, but through readings that he would get, just randomly, because most readings are this way. The entities that are the strongest are the ones that come in first. So he got messages from his father, um, and he was able to make amends with his dad, and then he himself got some closure, which I thought was really quite phenomenal and just fascinating, truly remarkable. And this book I found very enlightening, and it opened my mind a bit more because I am a believer in what I call true psychics, and I think he's one of them. Sylvia's another. Um, I'd love to meet him someday and just talk with him. I think he would be really cool just to sit down with and chat, just to see what he thinks about how he experiences energies that come into him. I mean, he says it's just a matter of being able to speak the language of energy, as he says. The way he describes that, I think, is probably the best methodology or understanding that I have gotten from how a psychic can do what they do, for lack of better wording or terminology that I can explain. Um, the book is really wonderful. It's one of the best books I've read in a long, long time. If you're intrigued with the world of true psychics, I would definitely pick it up, especially if you're a fan of John Edward like I am. Um, he has some other books. One's called Infinite Quest, I have yet to read. The other book, actually, that's published before this one is called Crossing Over, the stories behind the stories, which I should have read before this one. But I will definitely read it in the near future, if not sooner. And this was written in 2010, so it's really quite a extraordinary book. It's astonishing, and it's a complete page turner. And the very beginning, the foreword, it's done by Larry King, and he himself says that John Edward is the most extraordinary person he's ever interviewed. He's appeared on his show many times, and of course, as a lot of you know, he's agnostic. He says that he doesn't know if there's a God or not, or if there are other universes or not, and he certainly doesn't know if there's some life after death. And he continues, I'll admit, John often provides insights into the departed that are not explainable. I don't know if he's seeing or hearing from the departed or if he's tuning into the viewer's vision of the departed. I'm not even sure if there is such a thing as psychic phenomena. However, I cannot deny that John Edward often amazes, which I think is completely true, because I also am completely astounded by how accurate he is, and he's accurate 99.9% of the time. In this, his third nonfiction book, he takes us into a further exploration of the other side as he sees it. Using intimate stories from his own life, he explains how to continue relationships after this tour on Earth. Another fascinating aspect is his tour of Australia, and naturally, the book is loaded with readings including celebrities. We also hear of John's admitted errors, and I like the idea of summation at the end of every chapter. Believe him or not, you will find in this book a treasure of exploration into what I call the unknown, or what John calls the no. Dull, isn't it? Dull it isn't. Yeah, I shouldn't say dull, isn't it? It actually says dull it isn't. Enjoy. Larry King, 2003. And I just thought it was a fitting tribute to Mr. Edward and his work, and just how honest he is, how truthful he is, and just how wondrous this ability he has. I myself can't possibly fathom what it would be like. I have a bit of an idea since I am telepathic. Um, it can be a little bit unnerving at times, and maybe just a tad dis- distressing or even frightening. That is if you don't really know the person that well enough, but if you live underneath the same roof with somebody, you develop a connection with them. At least I have. I developed one with my mom, and this is my own personal story, but when she was going through her second round of uterine cancer, when the cancer returned, it was more aggressive. The link that we had, it began to dissolve, and that was probably the most devastating thing I had ever gone through. And it was just utter desolation for me, because she was like a sister to me. And it was very trying, but I think having this ability, a sixth sense, and he can hear, see, and speak. Well, actually, he says he feels. It's called clairsentience, which I had never heard that term before, but it's a new term. It's basically the ability to feel presences from beyond. I have clairsentience because I have felt uh, my mom in the room with me. There will be cold, like a little bit of a chill, and it doesn't frighten me at all because I know it's my mom. And sometimes I feel like there's somebody sitting with me on my bed before I go to sleep and in my lap. It may be my mom, it could be my relatives, I'm not sure, but I know if it's my mom because mom, she comes on the radio and I can hear her favorite songs. I think, ah, you're watching me again. Or I feel her arm around me when I drive. So I know that she's very active, and she's even more active this month because, well, during October the veil starts to thin a little bit. But I think I kind of understand what John is talking about. But to the normal person, it would just freak the heck out of them. And the way that they come to us, as far as I can uh, comprehend, would be in a very non-threatening form. At least that's how he perceives it, and he gets visual clues which help him. So I guess I can fathom how that would work. But as far as books are concerned, I definitely give this 2 thumbs up. It's truly a engrossing read, and you can't put it down. I just had so much trouble putting this book down. And I was just absolutely enthralled with it. And I can't really say that much more about the book without giving too much away from it. And it's really an enlightening, endearing, and thrilling book to read. And it will definitely open your mind and make you less of a skeptic about this sort of field, I think, because I really do believe that as far as knowledge is concerned, the veil truly is thinning, and I think that we must be submissive to that and be open-minded and willing to accept the new information that we receive in this very auspicious time in our lives.